Are from a technical background. A technical background. Uh, yeah. So how many of you are from a technical background? Technical, who understand code? From a privacy perspective, how many? All right. Governance or students? No? So anyone who's from a compliance perspective or, intelligence perspective? All right. All right, cool. I would require a little more audience participation. We'll have questions in the end. Uh, so what I'm going to present today is fingerprinting healthcare institutions. This is more of a session where I went ahead and fingerprinted hospitals and healthcare institutions. I could have gained access to their medical records. And possibly shut down some devices at some point. And we look at why is it critical right now. The last year we saw about 1,000% rise against healthcare and medical institutions. All right, so who am I? I work with Philips Healthcare. I try and hack everything. One of a research that I conducted and my colleagues conducted was on hacking petrol pumps. We're going to present that next month at Eurosec. I like sustainability, so if you have green technology and all, just hit me and I'll probably help you with that. I research on healthcare security, on protocols, devices, infrastructure. One of the talks that I gave was how to crash medical devices and gain access to them using protocols that run on them. Again, I play guitar on free time. This is a project that I run, a hospital security project. This is for people who are new into healthcare security. This has been inactive for quite some time, so if you have any questions, just let me know and I'll post something over here. I'd really appreciate if someone reaches out to me. All right, agenda. So this is the agenda for today. Why do we need to think about healthcare? We will look at targeted attacks against institutions, countries, again, devices. We'll learn how to fingerprint. We'll learn how to fingerprint software, hardware, anything that runs in hospital. We're going to be talking a lot about EMR security. EMR stands for Electronic Medical Record. This is where all your medical records are kept. And it has a ton of information. So if you talk of a credit card, it is sold for about $2 in the black market. A medical record is sold for 60. And it has all the information that an attacker can use to get insurance details. So scamming is one thing. The other thing is you can go ahead and claim fake insurance claims. If someone gets access to your medical history, he can actually impersonate you very, very accurately. Then we'll talk about fingerprinting beyond servers. So we'll talk about cameras. We'll talk about FTP, about routers and HVAC controls that are found on hospitals. If time permits, we'll talk about HL7, and then we'll have a Q&A session. All right, why healthcare? So primarily, healthcare are very easy targets. As of now, there's a huge payoff. Like I mentioned that you can get about $60 for one medical record. We're still too mature in terms of security, and this is the same kind of situation that banks faced about 10 years ago. We're facing the same challenges in every aspect, and there's less awareness. So if I talk to hospital admins and I tell them that your system is insecure, they don't listen to me. In the end, I've seen many hospitals get hacked recently, quite many. I want to start with this talk, and then we'll talk.
And now a warning about your most personal information at risk. Medical records being hacked, stolen, and sold for fraud. Up 11,000% last year. Roughly 1 out of every 3 Americans has been hit, whether they know it or not, giving criminals a wealth of information that, unlike compromised credit card numbers, can last forever. NBC's Tom Costello has what you can do to protect yourself.
For John Kuhn, it was a simple x-ray after a snowboarding accident that turned into an accounting nightmare. When the hospital billed him $20,000 for surgery he never had.
I had to go down in front of the billing department, no less, and pull up my shirt and show them that I did not have any major scarring on my stomach at all.
It turns out the hospital's hard drive had been stolen along with John's medical records. Just one of 100 million healthcare records stolen last year alone. Many of those records show up for sale on the dark web, where hackers openly advertise themselves and what they've stolen. This site offers fresh healthcare profiles stolen last April in California, boasting you can use those profiles for normal fraud stuff or to get a brand new healthcare plan for yourself.
This looks very user-friendly, and this is designed for crooks.
This is where information from big data breaches ends up as a commodity being sold.
Stolen credit cards go for $1 to $3 each, Social Security numbers $15. But complete healthcare records are a gold mine, going for $60, because criminals can use them to order prescriptions, pay for treatments and surgery, even file false tax returns.
You basically own a person. You have all the information. You can actually create a new account. You can fake his whole identity.
To avoid getting hacked, IBM security pros advise following good password practices. Don't use the same email account for banking and shopping. Use PIN codes for your IRS returns. And importantly, avoid giving out your Social Security number, even the last 4 digits, to hospitals and doctors' offices.
You really need to push back on those situations and say, look, can I give you a PIN or some piece of information that I can change on a regular basis?
If your health records are compromised, your financial life can be too. Tom Costello, NBC News, New York.
All right. So this is what I was talking about last year. So I've seen these records go up to $100. But we had a lot of breaches, so the value came down to 60 now. So yes, there were a lot of attacks. Last year we got, if I talk statistics, we saw about 1,000% rise in attacks against hospitals. The most recent and the most dangerous attack was the ransomware attacks recently at a hospital in LA. What happened was the attackers encrypted the patient database and asked for about $3 million. And these attacks just surfaced one after the other. All right, so how, now we'll talk about how do they get information, which software is present where. So overall, if I were to comment that healthcare institutions are really easy to fingerprint, and we'll see in the next, I have like 40 slides in which we just talk about the ways which we can fingerprint healthcare institutions. They're considerably less protected. There are many entry points. And again, there's many targets. By a lot, I mean really a lot many targets. What do you expect when you fingerprint healthcare institutions? So you can expect anything from routers to cameras to server racks and farms, FTP telnet, and then you can actually get something like this. So if see on the middle, this pointer works, or okay, so if you see over here, okay, so if people can see over here, this is an X-ray machine that was posted on Twitter. So you can actually access this X-ray machine and view patient scans. And this was available on Twitter. Right? Someone tagged me onto it, and I just found out that it was running Windows XP, and you could actually log into that machine. So yeah, I don't know what's more scary. Okay, and then these are some of the more devices that you can find. So they're hard, but if you find them, if you do hard enough, you can find them. If you're inside an hospital, these are very easy to find. So you can find ultrasound machines, patient monitors, then IoT devices inside your homes. These are easy to fingerprint as well. Let's talk about infrastructure inside a hospital. So this is what we typically expect a hospital to look like. So you have vendor servers which communicate to the hospital and back. But then we assume that these will have a separate network. So monitoring devices like X-ray, MRI machines will have a separate network. Medical devices will have a separate network. And HVAC lighting systems, waste management systems will have a separate network. Unfortunately, this is what looks like. So you have everything present on the same network and you give internet access to it. This is a very common scenario that I've seen. So if you get guest Wi-Fi access to a hospital that you go, if you try scanning it, you might find an X-ray machine there. Or you might find a hospital EMR system over there, and which is equally dangerous. You can actually crash those devices just like that. Right? And then interesting thing is that these are connected to other hospital computers also, and the internet, and you have service portals, tablets, phone security systems also. Okay, let's understand the basics of fingerprinting. When I started fingerprinting, it was quite new to me, but the things that I keep in mind is find unique but common headers. Be consistent with your approach. So if you're finding, let's say, EMR system, try and find EMR system. Use multiple tools. So I use Shodan, Census, Maltego, and then I had to verify them manually, and then use Google again to get more results. All right, so what can you fingerprint? So pretty much everything. So you can have medical devices, you have routers, you have data centers, EMR softwares. EMRs is, again, electronic medical records. HVAC controls, which is heating, ventilation, and cooling controls. Lighting controls. So what is the significance for each of them is, let's say you're in a surgery and the AC turns off, or someone turns off the lighting system. Is it possible? Yes. Has someone done it? I don't know. All right, finding hospitals. So generic name searches are there. So you can go about searching for just the hospital name and you'll find something. You can also go ahead and narrow down to search parameters. And we'll see how. All right, so these are the generic names that you can go ahead. So if you go to Shodan and say hospital or hospital star, healthcare star, or the name of hospital, results will pop out. And you'll find a lot many hospitals. So this is one of these searches. So you see here, okay. So this is hospital star, and it gives me these results. This is healthcare star, it gives me these results. Right? So this means the banner that is being shown is of a hospital or healthcare, and you have to go and verify them manually. In most of these cases, if you search for hospital or healthcare, they are not false positives. But in some cases, they might turn out to be, because a hospital might have a website which is saying healthcare, and you might end up finding websites. Now, this is just one part. But what if I want to really go ahead and fingerprint devices or hospitals of a particular region? For this example is hospitals in Russia. So if you go ahead and say, hospital, country are you, you'll find hospital just from Russia. Right? And this is just one part of it. All right. Another thing that when I started fingerprinting is I fingerprinted hospital chains. So you have chains of hospitals that are spread across geographies and borders. These are really easy to find because they have a distributed environment, and you can go ahead and fingerprint them. So if you look here, you'll find that 2 of these hospitals were from India and 2 were from Indonesia. Okay, now narrowing down to it. What you can do is just go ahead and search for port 21, which is the FTP server. All right? Now, if you look at over here, I don't think if you can read. So it'll at most of these, in many of the servers, it shows anonymous login successful. So these hospitals have FTP servers which do not have any password protection. So it's just a matter of time that you find such hospitals and get access to them. But sometimes the name is too generic. So let's say that there are times which the hospitals had names similar to that of ISP providers or routers. So you have to narrow down on technology, look for other parameters, and don't fall into honeypots. So this is one very interesting thing that I found. People have started using honeypots. This is for research, which is good, but then the honeypots are less, and they're very, very, they look very genuine. Use Google. So if you find a hospital, just Google it. You'll find, if it's a legitimate hospital or not. Okay, let's talk of EMR solutions, and this is what we're going to talk about, for next 15-20 minutes. So this is actually a gold mine for attackers. You get access to EMR systems. This is where your patient data is kept. Now let's talk about what kind of patient data is kept. A hospital will have information like race, sex, age, financial status, insurance, your attending doctor, your relatives, and it might have your emergency contacts as well. So there's huge, huge data that is present on your medical record. That is why these records have much more value. The other thing is, these records hold value even if they're, hacked 10 years ago. Because if you had a medical condition that was there, right? So if you had cough at, say, 2006, you had cough at 2006. Right? Unlike credit card records, where you can say that, this is not my credit card. But your medical history remains as it is. That is why these are very, very important. These are very easy to attack. As of now, the ones that I'll show you, you didn't have brute force protection. Many of them had telnet enabled. You had HTTP, so phishing attacks become really, really easy. And NetBIOS was exposed. These are some of the clippings that have come up recently. So these are all ransomware attacks. How many of you understand ransomware? All right, awesome. One. Ransomware. Yeah. So the hospitals nowadays are being targeted for ransomware attacks. The Hollywood hospital being the latest. What happens is attackers break into your system, encrypt your drives, and ask for money. The US hospital recently was demanded about $3 million for decrypting the records. They didn't pay up, but again, this happens. And the interesting thing is, after that, there were too many hospitals that were being attacked in the same fashion. So if you talk of a typical hospital scenario, again, why EMR security is important is that this guy actually communicates to every device in the hospital. So if you've done a CT scan, if you're inside an ICU, or just lying around in the bed, all these information will be stored on the EMR. Now imagine if this thing goes down, right? So your doctor's tablet or mobile device or the PC is connected to the EMR solution, and it is connected to you as well through some sort of sensor. But again, understand the implication of this thing going down. All right? So that is why if you find these kind of infrastructure over the internet, it is a good reason to get scared. Because if someone shuts it down, he can actually go ahead and shut down the entire hospital operation. So again, so patient monitors, healthcare devices and all. Now, fingerprinting EMR solutions. I use Shodan sensors and Maltego. So the way I started is I created a list of top 200 EMR solutions. I started searching them by name. That helped to some point, but after that I looked at more advanced techniques, not advanced techniques, but it was just using common sense. So I said, let me look at the deployment scenario. The URL constructs the technology that is being deployed over it. At that point, that also failed. So I started searching for manuals. And I got access to manuals, and we'll see what happened after that. I changed the language too, and we'll see how the scenario changed when I changed the language. And then you find bugs. And these are all live solutions. Okay, how many of you know about Shodan? Shodan, awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, this is nice. Okay. Shodan is really, really easy to use. It has, you can search using name, it gives you less false positives, and at some fingerprints that I did, you have ready exploits. So if you pay them, you get a ready exploit for that. This is one of the searches that I did. So this is one EMR solution provider, and I just put its name over there. So it's a very big player in the US, and I could find 91 of such instances deployed. If you look closely, you can see that 41 of them run on HTTP. All right. Again, so top organizations and all, so it works. This was another one. So this one, the interesting thing was 4 of them shows NetBIOS exposed. Again, HTTP was there, but so yes, so this was again, I figured out that this was easy. Next, what I started to do was look for more interesting things, and this EMR provider actually gave me access to the anonymous login on FTP. This is not exactly that you find with every EMR provider, but yes, you find FTP enabled. So what do you do next when you find FTP? You try to log in. And this is, I did not go ahead with the right password, but if you see over here, it says send identity email as password. The identity email was the doctor's email ID, which they published on the website. So you could go, search their website, get a doctor's name, put that name over here, and get access to their FTP and patient records. All right, at one point this failed because you were not getting much results with Shodan. The results were just redundant, 1 or 2 organizations. So I started to fingerprint again using EMR structures. So I looked at how the URL is constructed, the technology that is being deployed, and these were the results. So this is one of the organizations which has a URL construct of this order, so _login.asp. And the interesting thing was, I got all the hospitals over here. Right? This was a sure shot because this was a medical device. So all these devices were genuine. All these hospitals were genuine. Again, this was again another URL that I found. I had to go ahead and manually look at the EMR structure, and I found. So again, I found a lot of hospitals. Phishing attacks become really, really easy when you're using HTTP. And most of the HTTPS that was being used was used by self-signed certificates. So even if I were doing a phishing attack, I don't think that it really matters. So another problem is the results are not constant always. So you need to think more, how do you fingerprint more? You need more access to data. And there are some systems that cannot be found during this approach. So now, let's think beyond Shodan. So Shodan was the easiest of deep web tools. It caches information, and it caches information for a really, really long time. So if you're fingerprinted by Shodan, it's there, I think forever. It is paid, which is a problem. So I did not have enough money to actually go ahead, download all the results. The interesting thing was it lacked multilingual capability. So, and we'll see what does that mean and the significance for that. The next alternative was Census. So how many of you have heard of Census? Census, awesome, yeah. So yes, Census was the best alternative. It's a free project. It's run by University of Michigan with some really cool researchers. The good thing was it provided raw data for research. So you can go ahead and dump their all search scan records. And they're in gigabytes. They support regex and can concatenate different parameters, and we'll see that in one of the slides. For advanced recon, I used Maltego, but I don't do advanced recon. This was just a proof of concept for showing you people that you can go ahead and fingerprint infrastructure at a really, really deep level. All right, so searching by names. So how does searching by names changes with census? Changes like this. So right now, all of the results that we saw were based out of US and India and Brazil. So all these countries spoke English. If I search in Russian, all of the results that you get are around Russia. Right? Same goes for Chinese. So most of these now show me results in Chinese. And you can use all of the techniques that we talked about earlier to search here. So if you know Chinese, go ahead, search for Chinese. If you know Russian, go ahead, search in Russian. Use census. This is Arabic. So the more languages you know, the better it is to fingerprint. All right. An interesting thing is, how do you use this efficiently? So I said hospital and Telnet and Russia. And can everyone see the results? So this is one close by, I think. I did not go any further. But you can do all sorts of crazy stuff like that. So you can say hospital and Telnet and India, or hospital and Telnet and US, and you will get lots and lots of results. The interesting thing is, these all results are like cherry served. You can just cherry pick. So you can just go ahead and you will find Telnet running on these servers, which have banners like this. The other thing is, when you fingerprint it like this, just go ahead and search with Google, verify with Google, and you'll find much more results. So if you put a URL parameter, so this happened when I was fingerprint one EMR software. What happened was, at one point I was just getting 10 or 20 results. I saw the URL, I saw the search provider, I searched it on Google, and Google had actually indexed their website and websites like that. So I had results from 10 to about 100 now. Okay, so what do you do when you run Maltego? So something like this happens. So this was one infrastructure. They were running their own website, and I ran Maltego over it. I could actually go ahead deep into their network. So these are all hospital PCs and environment. Sometimes you get such results in Shodan also. It works. When everything fails. So there were some systems that were legacy, which did not have, web-based UI. You had to RDP into the solution. So what did I do? I actually read the manual. And I'll show what reading the manual did. If you look at this, this is a screenshot from their manuals. So it says log on to the EMR system, and it says that how do you log on. First page, good. Second page shows this. Windows Server 2003, and this is the latest EMR software they ship. Now, and the interesting thing about this service provider was their name was very generic to the internet service provider. So I was not able to fingerprint it. I put in a filter with Windows Server 2003. Bam, I got like crazy amount of results. And it's Windows Server, again, I emphasize on Windows Server 2003. It was, yeah, you could do crazy stuff with this. And the easiest way was this I really like this way. You go to a vendor website. This is very common with small vendors. And they've published all the hospital names where they've deployed their software. So they gave me like hospitals from UK, USA, India, Brazil, Nepal, everywhere. What I did next was search for this software. And this is what I got. So this runs on HTTP, and this is CTI MRI Center on an emergency block. Fun fact, this guy does not have brute force protection. So yes, you can do pretty much crazy stuff with this. And this is in the emergency block. And there were many more like these. Cloud-based EMRs. They're really, really easy to find. Let me put it this way. You have Amazon Cloud, which is indexed. You have Salesforce. Just point Google to it or Bing to it, and it'll give you crazy results. Census also works good against cloud. it fingerprints a lot of data onto it. Many entry points, a trend that we see today is your IoT devices will be pushing data to the cloud EMR. So you'll have, let's say, your smartwatch pumping in data out to the hospital EMR or your doctor. The interesting thing is you can do the same. So you can track someone wearing a smartwatch. Smartwatch is a very, I'd say not the best example, but yes, the context is this. You can search for IoT devices that are healthcare. Google is really effective, and that is why I did not post any slides. You can just go and find many of such instances. In a nutshell, finding EMRs is easy. You think your EMR might be secure, but the other infrastructure might not, and we'll see why. The attacks go beyond audits and processes, and I want to emphasize this more, and we'll see why. Besides servers. So this is really interesting. This is a Cisco access point, a Cisco router on one of the largest hospitals that I fingerprinted. It gives me the full address of the hospital, and it says that, do not log on to this machine. Right? You will be persecuted or whatever. And this was like really easy. And you can find n number of routers which are showing hospital information just lying there. What you can also do is find camera. So you can find security cameras inside of hospitals and get light feed from them. You Google them and you'll find many of them. HVAC controls, like I said, you're in the middle of a surgery and the AC goes off, right? You can find lighting controls also. They're hard, but you can get access to lighting controls. How much time do we have? 15 minutes more. All right. Insider attacks, we can talk of man in the middle, blue screen of death, network exploits. I found them all. HL7 exploits. Just a quick HL7 review. So HL7 is a software or a standard that runs on every medical device. HL7 is an organization. I'm talking about HL7 2.x. I gave a talk about it on how you can go ahead and actually create DDoS conditions on a hospital environment using HL7. This is one of the most popular, quite old. FHIR will replace it. So you just added new fields from HL7 2.x, like 2.1, 2.2, and there were just new fields being added. This is where HL7 runs. This is the delimiter. This is how trace looks like. It might not look, very attractive. But if you look at over here, this has information like, what is your name, middle name, and this all goes in plain text. So there are some messages, and I'm working on a research paper. I'm yet to publish it. It tells you how you can get access to non-prescribed drugs. You can actually create new patients, get false insurance claims out of this. The entry points are quite, so you just need to remember, just keep this in a particular syntax. This is the patient identifier, the message fields, and these are the potential entry points. You can crash devices to pretty much everything. You can have payloads like this. The interesting thing is, let's say that you inject a payload from a patient monitor and it is being viewed on a web UI. So you can do a cross-site scripting attack on a patient monitor, which will land to a EMR solution. The other thing is you can upload shells also. But that is again on an advanced. All right. We'll just talk about defending, and we'll take questions. Have public and private networks, harden servers and routers. Have a patching policy. If you can, if you're a hospital provider or pen testing, look out for Shodan NSSs because they're very aggressive in scanning. Always assume that your network is compromised. It is compromised. Isolate high-value components. So the cost of an MRI or a CT scan machine goes up to €1 million per machine. You do not want these machines to be crashing every time. and it takes about a week to just bring them up and running. They have to be synchronized in such a way, and the experts take about a week. Encrypt and backup, protect yourself against ransomware. Know your devices. Have a vendor management policy. Thank you. This is my team. I just wanted to thank them. Because of them, I'm here. Yeah. Questions? Yes.
Yes, excuse me, I have a question. As you have said, the situation with information security in healthcare is like the situation in bank systems about 10 years ago.
Yes.
And it's the situation in the US. Here in Russia, we fall back another 10 years. And so we have problems not only with information security in the healthcare, but also just informatization in of the healthcare. So what would you advise for the information security company to do to raise the awareness in the healthcare institutions and hospitals and so on, how to explain the medical personnel who doesn't well understand computers and yes, information technology, that they really can be hacked, that their information could be stolen and used against, for example, ill people that they treat.
Yes.
Thank you.
Again, coming to a point, it's not just a problem in the US. US has a big problem. Every institution in the world has a problem in healthcare right now. It's not just Russia or Germany or Europe or India. Every institution. I've seen hospitals in India which are really small get hacked. I mean, I didn't understand the value of hacking them, but someone just did it for fun. Talk about healthcare security. Use my slides. I've posted it on SlideShare. Some of my slides are on SlideShare. You can always reach out to me at Hospital Security Project, or just tweet me or Facebook message me. I'll write. I'll try publish as much content as possible. If you want to scare someone, just look at my SlideShare or use these slides. I mean, just feel free to use it. The other thing is, what I like about US right now is many of the hospitals have started information security practices. They do have a vendor management policy. They do have patch management systems, and they ask vendors, what are you going to do in case we are attacked? Because of which, some vendors have to give warranty for about 5 or 10 years on medical device products.
But you know, in the US, they have HIPAA standards.
Yes.
In Russia, there is no such standardization that do something with information security
Yes.
for the healthcare.
Yes.
So it's kind of a problem because we explain that you can be hacked, they say, and so what? So because the government doesn't care, why should we?
Yes.
So it's kind of what to do.
So Europe does have standards on healthcare security. I just forgot what are those standards called, but it does. If you talk of Germany, they have very strict laws, but Europe does have. I just forgot. It's better than India. I can guarantee you that. So you just need to look, and there is always an association of hospitals in every country. You can always reach out to and tell them that, hey, this is a problem. What I really like about, again, taking an example from US, you can reach out to the FDA and HIPAA again if a hospital is non-compliant. Same goes for every cert organization in every country. India, for example, you write to cert, they will take an action towards it. US has declared healthcare sector as critical infrastructure. So the first is Department of Defense, all the military equipment that comes. Second is healthcare. That is their priority. I think if you're in information security, talk about it. This should be our topic, in upcoming conferences or just talks. So feel free to use this. Yes.
Thanks.
If I have some company and I found my company in that basis, in Shodan, in Maltega, I want to remove from that basis. Can I write them? Are they friendly if I write them? Guys, please remove me here. I don't want hackers attack me.
Yes. Yes, you can. You can always reach out to them. But I'm not sure. First thing is, the first priority when you appear in Shodan or Census is patch your system. Then write to them. And if they scan you twice or thrice, I mean, they will remove you. But I've seen a lot of hospitals just disappear on Shodan. I used to find a lot of hospitals, like this X-ray example that I showed, it's no longer there. You found this, it was cached, now it's not cached. So yes, they remove solutions from there, searches from there.
Thank you.
Did you use free or paid account at Shodan?
I used both. First I used free, but then if you need to download results, you need to pay them. So I paid them. But then there were other paid options that I couldn't afford, which were for organizations. But you need to pay for getting better results. I paid, so yes.
So that's why you come to Kansas next.
Pardon?
That's why you come to Census next.
Yes, yes. So Census is really good in terms of research because they give you raw data which you can analyze on your own. So it's a trade-off between money and time.
Well, to my mind, it has more recent database, but it's not so big as in Shodan.
From what I found many results in Census than in Shodan, primarily because I was using a free account. Shodan has been there for quite a long time. But as for me, for my research, I found Census in some ways better than Shodan. Shodan is easy. Shodan is easy. It saves you a lot of time. But if you're ready to give in time, I would recommend Census.
How can you distinguish honeypots from real systems
Right.
in Shodan and in other services?
Yes. So there was this system that was running inside a university, which was showing me behavior of a hospital and a petrol pump. So I was actually finding a hospital, and then I found a hospital which had the traits of a petrol pump, gas stations. So I was researching on fingerprinting gas stations and breaking into them, and we found both. So at that point, I knew that it was running a honeypot. So that is more on your judgment, how do you go about finding it.
So you use another info to check your query in Shodan?
Yes. Yes, I tend to verify. So first I search on Shodan, then I search on Census. If needed, I run Multigo, and I usually verify using Google. So now I've stopped fingerprinting. It was too much, but yes, you can do that.
Thank you.
Do government or other officials in your country help healthcare organizations to improve their information security?
Yes.
And how?
Okay. So this happened when I spoke at a conference called Ground Zero. I was directly approached by the head of security for Indian infrastructure. So what he said was, if you find any problem with any healthcare or any sector, just reach out to me. And yeah, that was really cool. But then you find, so information security, the community as a whole is very small at this time. So you can, find people just like that. So in India, it's like most of the people in information security are in my Facebook friend list, so I just need to contact them just like that. But in the world also, there are very few researchers. So you can always find the right contacts if you find, any instance. Let's say you find something in Russia, you will find, just just make a noise about it in the security community. Yeah, people will reach out to you.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Are Shodan and other fill their bases automatically or by manual? Do you know it? Hospitals and other industries are appear in Shodan and other by robot or some person
Yes.
type them.
Yes.
And can I, are there any possibilities to tune my FTP, HTTP server to not be added into that basis?
Yes. Yes, they run. So what I know, I'm not really sure on how the internals of Shodan and Census. What I know is it's an automated scan. Yes, you can prevent it. Have firewall policies. Have patch management systems. Outbound rules. So if you're using Linux systems, have IP tables. If you're using Windows systems, have firewalls. On a network level, if you can have hardware-based firewalls or software-based firewalls, that really helps. That is like should be your first step. The other things is have a vendor policy management. So you need to tell your vendors, I do not want outbound connections on this system. And this comes in as a request. So I was talking to quite a few folks in the hospitals, and they told me that physicians want to access Facebook because they get bored. That is why we need to give access on an EMR machine. So I mean, it's again a call from the hospital.
Thank you.
Any questions?
How do you think is there a proper way for patients to protect themselves?
Yes.
Any?
So before I started working in the healthcare information security or joining Philips, I thought it's a pretty safe environment. But now I realize there is nothing. I don't think there is pretty much you can do, because if the hospital themselves do not handle your data, I cannot think of that, because the problem is you can always question hospitals. So again, this comes on privacy also. In India, you can actually go ahead and request for someone else's patient records, because it's a cultural thing. You cannot do the same in US or in Europe. So you need, you can always assert that, my patient records must not be shared with anyone. But technically, I'm not sure, because again, hospitals do not have strong technical or cybersecurity guys. Big hospitals do have. If you talk of big hospitals that have chains across Europe and US and India, they have guys who are CISO positions, but then they've outsourced all their information security to some other company because they don't have their own cert. So, yeah.
Any questions? Okay, that's all.
All right. Thank you.